Alright, it's time to download CodeIgniter and get our project set up. First thing to do is head over to ellislab.com/CodeIgniter, or you could just look on Google for CodeIgniter and it'll be one of the first results to come out. What we're going to go ahead and do is just download the framework. Just click download. And the version I'm using is 2.1.3, as you can see in the download. After this series you might get a little bit later versions with minor revisions. But the base of it's not going to change. What you learn here you should be able to continually apply in later versions. So I'll go ahead and open my zip file, and we have CodeIgniter and the version. And if I go in here, I have 3 folders and then my index file. So our first job is this. Let's go to the place where you set up your workspace for your local host. Mine happens to be C Drive Workspace. And I created a folder called Junior Dash. That's what I'm going to call the project for this series. You don't have to call it that, but I'm going to do that because what we're going to build is an application that's like a miniature dashboard for users. So with this folder, I'm just going to take all this stuff and copy it in there. It's literally this easy, drag and drop to install. CodeIgniter is very nice. And I'll close out my zip file. Now my actual working PHP directory is this. I do use my host on port 82. Yours might look like localhost and then your file name. But I'll refresh and you should have this up and running pretty easily. So let's briefly go through the structure of the application. We have a user guide, and the user guide is all HTML content. I could just drag this into here, and this content is the exact same content that's on the website. If you were to go to ellislab.com/CodeIgniter, you could scroll down to the CI user guide, and they have this table of contents. Now don't be intimidated by all this stuff. I'm going to break it down for you so that you can get the most out of what you're going to use most often. A lot of these things we might not even use. So since that's already available online and most people have an internet connection all the time, you can just delete the user guide folder because it adds a lot of extra space. Next we have our system folder. This folder you never touch. This is the actual core of CodeIgniter, so just disregard that. All of our work happens in this application folder. So if I go in here, this is where all my code's going to go. And there's actually a lot of folders in here that we're not even going to use. So even though it looks like there's a lot of stuff, it's not as bad as you think. So let me go back. And what we have here is welcome to CodeIgniter. And if you have this, you've successfully installed it. And we're about good to go. The 3 folders we're going to keep our eye out on are controllers, views, models. Remember how we talked about that before? These are our main controllers, and this is how we're going to build our application. That'll sum it up for the installation. If you have any problems, feel free to ask a question.